very back of the book. Exercise number 8. That's okay. That's okay. Number 8. Okay, and this is all just at random, searching, trying to explore my instrument with, perhaps this is an unorthodox way, but like in example 8, I have a short downward motion down the scale, D, C, B, A. And underneath that, I'm playing, those are quarter notes, and underneath that, I play in eighth notes like the C scale with the flat 3, the +4, and the +5. And the next little example in the measure following, it's the same thing, but backwards. And the top voice is on the end of the beat rather than on the beat like the previous method of measure. Now, I did this, I don't know, morning, noon, and night, trying to get a grasp of it and see how I might inject it into my playing, not in any particular style, but something that might work. And the next one is sort of a ragtime kind of a thing. And I was thinking of Scott Joplin when I did it. And let's see, what number is it? Yeah, here we go. Scott Joplin, number 12. I called it Etude for Scott Joplin. And this is on my classical guitar. It isn't the electric guitar.
Improvisation, and this book is available on from Mel Bay, but The piece Two Lines for Barney and this piece and the Etude 20 that I played are all from that book.
Yes.
And it's every now and then if you search Jimmy Wyble's name on Amazon.com, a copy pops up. So.
I must add to that. The book that he mentioned, The Art of Two-Line Improvisation, was published many, many years ago and had totally dropped out of sight until Dave Kuntz and I attended Tommy Tedesco's wake, and that was the first time I had met David Oakes, and he came to me and said, "Do you mind if I record your music?" And I was, of course, thrilled because the book had long since dropped out of sight, and I don't think maybe a couple hundred people might have acquired it. But David not only played it beautifully, but he added finger markings that were lacking, string markings. He corrected notes that should be tied and were not. And just in general, he really put the book in such a beautiful manner that I think most classical guitarists would accept, whereas before the previous book, they would not, you know. So I'm indebted to David, not only for his interest in the music that I'm quite sure your efforts will keep the music alive, and I thank you.
Favor of love.
All of this happened with me just out of curiosity. What would happen if I did this sort of thing, if I wrote these things down and tried to put them to use somehow. During that time, I met Howard Alden. He was about 14, and we spent some time together. And Howard was the kind of young man that when I got to the lesson and I planned to hopefully show him something, he already knew it. So it was during his early years that we hung out together, and one of the etudes was something called Number 7, and Howard and I were GIT. He was, by that time, he must have been 17 or 18, and just a tremendous musician and teaching there. So they had facilities where we could go in and record someone alone or with someone. So he and I went in and recorded Etude Number 7. That's in your book. Can we find Etude Number 7? It's towards the front of the
About 5 pages.
It's about 4 or 5 pages in.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side.
Yeah, there it is. Unfortunately, the printer put this together, so we have to turn the page for one of the last sections of it. But it's there, and it's exactly the way we played it. Now, over here, we tried to approach it in the manner that it's written, but also use the whole etude as a comp, rather than comping on the changes to the etude. I repeatedly played the etude over and over while Howard improvised over it. I played an introduction by myself, and I played after his played an interlude by myself. Then we went back to the top, and I had written a second part for Howard, which involved playing two notes rather than chords or triads, etc., just to see how that might work. That is numbers. That's number 9, A2 number 9. I tried number 9, I beg your pardon. I can't see with my glasses or without them. May I say something? This is funny. But I've been poked in the eye here lately. I noticed a definite loss of sight in my right eye, and I went to my AFG Mobile Kaiser, give them a plug, and they took numerous pictures and said, well, you're too old, your eyes are leaking. So they put a little anesthesia in my eye, and sure enough, he said, look over there. And he put a needle in my eye. And you know, honestly, it does not hurt. If you ever have to do it, do it. It's painless, absolutely painless. And it helps stop the bleeding, which causes scar tissue. But I slow everything down by putting them on and off, and I hope you forgive me.
Are you ready? Can you hear number 9?
Yep.
For those of you who are not familiar with Howard Alden, and I doubt there are many guitar players in this room that aren't, but he's one of the most celebrated recorded jazz artists probably of the last decade. And he did the music for the movie Sweet and Low Down. He was the guitar player that was being kind of copying Django, and he started right here with this man.
Yeah. All right.
I owe much to Howard. I owe much to all of my students because they taught me. I learned more from them than they got from me.
And Howard coached Sean Penn.
Right.
Yeah. Howard coached Sean Penn, and Sean did a superb job of mimicking and following the music. But, you know, all of us owe so much to each other because we're the teachers. The guy that sits next to you is the best teacher you can find when you go on a gig or play with a band. And I'm so blessed that I have, like David in my life, Dave Kuntz, a wonderful jazz guitarist. His son, Larry Kuntz. You know, these are my dear friends, people that I'm close to, but there are many. There's Joe DiOrio. When I first